I'm with Amrish Kacker, who is the partner for strategy consulting at Analysys Mason. Amrish, welcome. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
We're at an interesting conference in Singapore, the Telco Strategies event, and monetization of data keeps coming up. But what's different about data in the emerging markets?
I think the biggest difference is data in emerging markets will be handset oriented, a lot more handset oriented than PC oriented. And this is, I think, one of the major challenges that operators are trying to overcome. So how can we make money out of data on handsets?
Are we talking about 2G handsets predominantly?
So what the operators would like is for this data to be on 3G handsets, but they don't control the sale of the handsets. Handsets are sold through prepaid channels, through independent distributors, and a lot of these are 2G today. Unfortunately for the operators, therefore, they need to put investment into 2G to actually support this huge demand for data.
Is that unique in the world for operators to be reinvesting or investing more in 2G at the moment?
It's unique and undesirable from an operator perspective. These are operators with 3G licenses. Of course, if you didn't have 3G licenses, it's a separate issue. These are operators with 3G networks. They would like to move all the traffic onto 3G and stop any investment in 2G. But unfortunately, that's not the case because they're not moving handsets fast enough.
And what's the answer to that?
So the challenge today is a 3G handset is about $40–50 more expensive than a 2G handset. In all these emerging markets, what we have are new local vendors selling very functional, very innovative handsets at $35–40. Until they're able to get a low-priced 3G handset, it's very difficult for the operators to start selling 3G services because 90, 95, 99% of handsets are sold through non-operator channels.
Is there any way they can encourage customers to move to 3G?
I think that's a very good point and very closely linked to the conference on partnerships. I think operators are thinking a lot about how can they get involved in the handset business. Obviously, building your own handset is a big challenge, but partnering with vendors to try and accelerate the process of lower priced 3G handsets is, I think, where the industry is likely to move to.
What are the limitations? Is it the chipset or is it the screens? What adds that cost, incremental cost to 3G?
So at one point the chipset was a significant cost. I think that's come down. It's probably the cost between a 2G and a 3G chipset won't be more than $4 or $5. But the expectation of customers when they go to 3G is they want to get the full 3G experience. It's a touch screen, it's a high-powered GPS, and all this functionality is only now coming to a significant scale.
We've heard of situations or markets that are creating unique tariffs to encourage people to change their behaviour. Can you give me some examples of that?
So I think this is a very interesting challenge again for emerging markets. People buy prepaid tariffs. They spend their weekly income, say, on buying a coupon, and then they use that for a month or whatever it is. Now in the context of being money constrained, operators need to come up with innovative ways of letting people use data. This can mean having a day tariff, an hour tariff, a minute tariff, not a minute, but 15 minutes, or even a particular web page tariff. So you get everything which is very different compared to a traditional eat-all-you-can bundle, which is what we're used to in developed markets.
So we're encouraging people to go to particular sites or giving them limited time frames for access?
Yeah.
And that's unlimited data in that time frame?
It can be unlimited data, and in a sense this is a very complex concept. But you can see that these complex concepts are what are needed in relatively what are considered unsophisticated markets.
We've heard that operators, I think you mentioned MTN in South Africa, has introduced dynamic pricing. How are they doing that?
So I think this is another interesting yield management issue, and we've got operators, MTN in South Africa, Uninor in India looking at this. And the solutions are improving. Initially the solutions were with SMS updates, saying if you call from a certain time to a certain time, you get a lower tariff. And now it's gone to a stage where you can dynamically move into a cell, get a cell broadcast, and it tells you here's a discount. So there's a lot of inventory being sold now of voice minutes, and that's a way to try and make more money out of voice capacity because I don't think you can cut prices anymore.
So operators are having to become very inventive in order to maximize those benefits of traffic flow.
Absolutely, and vendors, because the solutions are also coming through from the vendor communities.
Amrish Kacker, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.